Never in the history of the world have the merchants of obscenity had available to them the modern facilities for disseminating this filth. Disseminating this filth. The onslaught of the communist masters of deceit.
Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz. Pinko, Commie, Slutz.
Oh my gosh, you both got here at the same time.
Zippity doo-dah.
It's magic shit right there.
It's an unspoken competition we have.
I like it.
Except that I've now spoken it.
You have now spoken it. It's lost.
Well,
already.
you just lost the game, and so did our listeners. Nah, I'm just so good at the game that even when I'm reminded of the game, I simply choose to not think about it.
That's commitment.
Yep, just the skill I have.
All right. Well, all the Pinko Commie sluts are here. What day is it? What week is it? I feel especially
Did
lost.
we post last week's episode?
I don't think we did.
All right. Well, bonus episode this week.
Yeah.
One of it will be even less relevant to current events than normal.
That's right. Well, it was a fun week. I mean, unfortunately, it seems like things are unraveling for old Trumpy boy.
Yeah.
In terms of this gotcha leaking of Biden's text.
I don't know how they're fucking it up to the degree they're fucking
It's
it.
hilarious.
There's a way to actually do this to attack Biden and seem like normal people, and they're just not doing that.
No, they're like, everyone should talk to their addicted son like you're a piece of shit, Don Jr.
Yeah, no, like I almost teared up at those texts. Like he seems so human and loving. Like Jesus.
Yeah, and I will say in a total non-political way, I myself, even though I'm very cynical about lots of things, I am very susceptible to, even for a bad person, if you show me this kind of humanity.
Yeah, Jesus.
If you show me, yeah, they're a terrible person, but at least at the bare minimum, they love and care about their family. I always count that as a okay, yeah, 1 point for you there. Even if you're despicable. Because there are bad people who even their own families, they are not loving and kind to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's seriously like Joe Biden, you could say oh, he authored the crime bill and bragged about it at the time that would put people in Hunter Biden's situation who aren't named Hunter Biden has ruined their lives. But, if only Joe Biden showed the love for America that he does his own son, but it's a hypocrisy. You could play it like that. You could say Hunter Biden has had 1 million second chances that Joe Biden doesn't think the average American should have.
Yeah.
That's your angle, and it's not shitting on his addiction or anything like that. It's a reasonable angle. But instead they're just leaking texts of him going
instead they're fellas, isn't it gay to tell your son you love him?
Yeah, no, it's seriously, they're calling Joe Biden gay for kissing his son on the mouth. It's the most flabbergasting. He handled the Hillary email thing so well because no one understood the Hillary email scam. Absolutely no. There's actually a famous old quote where, 3 people understood the Hillary email scandal: a federal prosecutor who's dead, the person who wrote the law who has since gone insane, and myself who has forgotten. No one knew what the Hillary email scandal was about.
Yes, but
he was able to sell it on this simple story of someone did something bad, and because their name happened to be Hillary Clinton, they didn't face consequences.
Well, also, he can tap into that vein of misogyny for Hillary.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the same energy behind his attacks.
He just seems
they
like
don't
he doesn't
have the
care.
same energy. I also think he doesn't care, but I didn't think he wanted to be president.
Yeah,
in the
no, I
first
think
place.
that's really what it comes down to is he is worried that if he makes the least bit of effort, he might be president for a second term. Like, that's really what my theory on this, because like he just seems like he's kind of trying not to stop putting like Rudy Giuliani front and center. He had people in 2016 who like said all the same shit, but just weren't disgusting human beings that no one likes.
Steve Bannon?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Oh, fuck, that was cool. God, remember Steve Bannon?
Remember
Jesus.
how his face just like flakes off on its own?
Yeah, no, that man is like...
It was the master race.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna take the advocate here and say he's doing the same argument, but like decayed. He just wants the same like signifiers to attack people without any substance. I myself watched 11 hours of the Hillary Clinton Benghazi testimony, and by the end of it, I was completely convinced that she personally murdered those ambassadors.
I mean...
By neglect alone.
Yeah, it's just, okay, with Hillary, like, yeah, fine, there's the sexism. Fine, there's Hillary Clinton specifically since the 90s has been a singularly targeted individual. That's legitimate. But, I mean, it's just, with any of her scandals, there was a similar theme that was not about the substance of the scandal. Like, I mean, like, yeah, a little bit with Benghazi, like, she caused the death of soldiers and doesn't care. But for the most part, it was just a story about, aren't you fucking sick and tired of Hillary Clinton thinking she's better than you, thinking she's owed the presidency, and she did all this bad shit, and if it was you or I, you would at the very least get fired from your job, you would probably go to jail or whatever, and instead she thinks she should be president. Like, that's it. It was just like, look at this privilege, and it's like, how many people have a shitty cokehead boss's son who they have to pretend to respect that could understand, like, oh, Hunter Biden's like that guy.
But that's the problem, is that Trump has no perspective on this.
Right.
Like, truly to come at it from that angle, because he makes those sons. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't relate to the criticism that could be cogent there, because he is an even worse version of all of those aspects.
Steven, you riding a motorcycle or something?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm actually on a motorcycle right now.
Hell yeah.
You're like Hunter S. Thompson, dude.
I'm like Hunter S. Biden.
Oh shit, they're named the same thing. How did I not realize that before? That rules.
Yeah, Hunter almost didn't have a choice, with the name like that.
I like this purported story that they went with, though. This is, like, this time they didn't choose WikiLeaks to do their dump. They didn't choose like some weird ass like third-rate website was made like yesterday to like plant this information. They went to Delaware, and
they gave
this guy a suitcase and was like, a computer, and was like, can you just say the deep state is after you so that we have reason to open this up? You see what Beau Biden's name on it? And I was like, sure, I'll say anything. Like, I don't buy the story that Hunter Biden was living in California, flew to Delaware, left his laptop there, and then never returned.
I could kind of see that on both one, the perspective that Hunter Biden sounds like he'd forget that he left his laptop to get fixed, and like,
is it more likely than somebody hacking his computer?
Oh yeah, like almost almost certainly they look like fucking cloud stored photos. But and yeah, that's probably what happened. But I could see.
But they went to great like they hacked the DNC and then just put it on WikiLeaks the last time, and this time they went through the extra steps of hacking Hunter Biden.
As a lifelong member of South Jersey who believes that if I look in certain dumpsters in Ocean City, I could find shit about the Biden family, I appreciate the theater.
No, it's brilliant. I'm giving them props for the lengths they went to, like.
I'm willing to believe.
This shop
Delaware
owner
is
was
full of dirtbags.
This shop owner, this QAnon shop owner, was like, "Oh, I got a Biden's laptop. Let me call my lawyer friend who knows Rudy Giuliani. That's who I'm gonna go to first."
Yeah. No, everyone knows each other. Yeah, like you grew up in New Jersey. We all grew up in well, Bunny grew up in Maryland, but it's still the Mid-Atlantic.
But because I grew up in the Mid-Atlantic, I do have a tertiary connection to Eric Trump's wife.
Like my biology teacher in high school,
people I know.
My high school biology teacher's ex was really good friends with Jon Stewart's wife. Like, we all know someone. It's just,
yeah. Now,
Joe Biden's like niece works at a fucking diner off the fucking Ocean City boardwalk. That's like, I'm like 70% sure that's a true statement. I think I heard that from someone in my family at one point. Yeah.
Wait, so you believe that the guy?
Yeah, that's some like weird dirtbag fucking Delaware IT repair place like had Hunter Biden wander into his shop one day and left his computer there, and then something occurred that made Hunter Biden forget that he just did that, which could have been like a squirrel running across Hunter Biden's field of vision, and so he just never came back with it, and then that dude got into QAnon and like broke into his computer. Yeah, sure. That could happen.
But he didn't break in. He handed it to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer.
Okay, yeah, sure. Like, again, I'm pretty sure I know someone who knows Rudy Giuliani.
The FBI, who then leaked it to the New York Post. Like, there were so many levels to this.
You probably have a former Boy Scout leader who could get on the phone with Rudy Giuliani. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's all Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Like, you're all this. Like, we all know each other.
Now, I know that's true for Greek people.
Yes, it's true for Greek people. And by the way, like, your sister, like, worked for the mayor or whatever the fuck. You know people. You could get on the phone with people.
That is true.
Yeah.
I do know people. I am kind of related to even the most powerful private citizen in all of Maryland, which is still Peter Angelos for some reason.
Is he like the
owner of the Orioles?
Oh, okay.
But also famously is the lawyer who got all the asbestos suits in the 80s, 90s. There was a big bunch. He got a lot of money for people who had asbestos and lead poisoning.
Yeah, well, Pennsylvania, and like, I mean, specifically Philly, but like Pennsylvania generally has Ed Rendell, who just like it's just like, I don't know. I think he was a city councilman in the 80s. Then he was mayor for a while. I think he might have been, I don't know if he was ever governor, but like, he's just allowed to be the dictator of Pennsylvania for some reason. And like, no one stops him. We all have our people. Well, yeah, he used to be guest star or co-host or some shit on some Comcast local Flyers show, like just talking about the Flyers. They'd always have Ed Rendell on. Like, you just had to grow up with this human being. I'm pretty sure my mom saw him on the Ocean City boardwalk, like shirtless with a floozy. He was like a real life, whatever the fuck the mayor of Springfield's name is. Drawing a blank.
Homer Simpson?
Yeah, either.
No, the mayor. Talked like Kennedy, fat, had floozies. It was a floozy having man. He didn't have
Floozy.
he didn't have mistresses. He had floozies. They weren't called mistresses.
Yeah, floozies seem like more fun.
Yeah, no, they're way more fun.
Like, and they all have to talk like, "Hey, miss."
Yeah, no,
like,
I'm pretty sure you don't even have sex with them. I'm pretty sure they're just around to like talk like that.
They're just around to drink your booze and talk like that and have
And like kind of cuddle with you on chairs.
Yeah. They're gonna they never sit in a chair. They're always perching.
Right.
And like a strap of their like dress is always like coming down.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know it's a floozy. Whereas a mistress, it's a full-time.
Yeah, like a mistress like has a house and shit, and like floozies are like when you were a kid.
They're good time
They're
girls.
like when you're a kid and you assume that the teacher lives at the school. Like when you're a little kid and like you're at a grocery store and you just assume all the clerks kind of live there and don't exist outside of working there. Like floozies only have this existence when they're with fat mayors. And machine politicians.
I mean, I do have a belief that all mayors should be fat.
Yeah.
So, like in my mind, the archetypical mayor is a fat guy.
Yeah, like Ed Rendell and or the mayor from The Simpsons. Which I still forget.
Or like
I was gonna say the mayor from Dukes of Hazzard.
That's a sheriff, wasn't it? The one who's always after them.
local politics.
I think he might be a machine boss, so you got that going for you. But isn't he a sheriff? I don't know. I never watched that shit. Reactionary trash. Southern man, in the words of Neil Young.
Boss Hogg.
Yeah, Boss Hogg. Yeah, I think
he was the mayor.
He was a mayor?
He's the flamboyant, bumbling mayor.
Oh, okay.
Boss Hogg.
I always just assumed
always
he was
in white.
Sheriff. Yeah, I know who Boss Hogg is.
No, the mayor was a different character.
Oh,
Sheriff.
Okay.
Boss Hogg. He's the quintessential fat Southern mayor.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Action League Now had the mayor as the bad guy, but it was this like smooth talking black action figure. Does everyone remember Action League Now, or am I the only one who watched that amongst us?
I watched it.
I think you might
but I
be.
don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, it was off of Nickelodeon's Kablam, which was just like this great fucking weird sketch comedy cartoon show that was like cool to like do drugs to or be like 12. The main bad guy was always the mayor who didn't have a name. He was just the mayor, but he was this very smooth talking professional black man in a suit archetype of the 90s.
Who's also who's also a archetypical mayor? The Ford brothers.
Oh yeah. No, there's some fat mayors.
But they're like
the mayor
Canadian.
from The Mouse Hunt, that movie from back in the day, was also like that. Yeah, a lot of fat mayors in fiction and reality.
When's the last time New York had a fat mayor?
I don't know. I guess Cock or Coach or whatever the fuck his name was sort of heavy. Was he? I don't remember. Yeah.
Who was fat?
I mean, he was jolly at the very least.
Halfway to being fat.
Yeah.
Was LaGuardia fat? Or was he just Italian?
I mean, Giuliani is the quintessential Italian mayor.
No, well, I mean, LaGuardia.
But LaGuardia's the good Italian.
Yeah, LaGuardia, it looks like depending on his angle, he had like kind of that like early 20th century fat dude shit.
At least had a fat head. If
He
remember
definitely has a
correctly.
pudgy head. He would be described at the time as fat. I'm sending all these pictures over, but he would be described at the time as fat because like everyone was super skinny then. But
yeah. LaGuardia, I had a concept for a script that, I mean, I love to write an ahistorical comedy. So it was about LaGuardia and what was the guy? Anslinger, the guy who had the hard-on for marijuana and like created marijuana prohibition.
Finance
LaGuardia was
Free
against
for Madness, if I
Yes, yeah. Exactly. So, but I wrote something that was essentially that Anslinger had smoked some weed and it made him feel real queer, and that's why he had such a vendetta against it. But in
Italian homophobia
sort
is
of-
the funnest thing to talk about.
Yeah.
That's one thing Cuntown really landed on as a formula is the Italian style of homophobia is a particularly funny style of homophobia.
Yeah, right. It's particularly what my boyfriend walked away with after binge watching The Sopranos.
Oh yeah, no.
He was calling everything a fucking
Oh
funny.
yeah, I say that when I stub my toe. That's what I do as my go-to toe stub curse word.
Yes.
I think there's two good conspiracy theories we have to talk about.
Oh, There's
Also, I did, and in fact, I want to call them somewhat extensive notes of the first quarter of Goldeneye, but I did just watch that entire fucking movie today. So
Awesome.
If we could get to that at some point.
But I think conspiracy theories come first.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the JFK Jr. Redux.
So, yes, the JFK Jr., which this is... People have been aware that for whatever reason, a segment of QAnon people are fixated on this idea that, one, JFK Jr. is not dead. Two, that he has hidden himself away to, I don't know, fucking Batman in the in the cave. He's training up to fight the pedophile cabals. But this weekend, a huge QAnon conspiracy was that at a Trump rally on October 17th, JFK Jr. would reveal himself to not only be alive, but to be replacing Mike Pence
as the VP.
As Trump, as the running mate.
Awesome. Oh my God.
Funniest part is that there was no Trump rally on the 17th. There was a Trump rally on October 17th, 2019.
Wait, no, I thought that they thought it was going to be in Dallas, but it was actually in Wisconsin.
Yeah. No, there was a Dallas rally on the 17th of October last year.
Jesus Christ, these people.
So it was, I just love how sloppy QAnon is and how hardcore people
believe
it.
The fascists in 2017 tried to take over a city. They're just, no one's giving a shit anymore. It's pissing me off.
Which city?
Charlottesville.
Oh yeah.
It's fascinating why choose JFK Jr.? It's a bizarre choice, and I have a theory that goes along with why the governor of the great state of Maryland announced publicly that, he wouldn't vote for Trump. He wrote in Ronald Reagan.
The dumbest human. This
is Governor Larry Hogan, fucking hogs greedish.
Really brought out the best people in your family.
It is. Yeah, it is literally ableism to make fun of that, because he is opening doors for the dumbest fucking people to get into politics, and good for him for doing that.
Well,
so I believe it's the same kind of fuzzy-headed sentimentality that is breeding both, where there's just a faint feeling memory of a person or figure, and that is all that matters, right? So much like how Larry Hogan has a fuzzy, soft-headed, wet-brained memory of Ronald Reagan, it's not lost on me how it's ironic that he would choose Ronald Reagan, who did preside over the AIDS crisis pretty poorly at this time. But I feel like this JFK Jr. thing comes from the same thing. It's people who were remember when Elaine had a crush on JFK Jr.?
I was just going to say, she masturbated to JFK Jr. I just remember the way she would say it, JFK Jr.
Yeah.
Because that's how she lost the bet.
That is how she lost the bet. And I remember...
Because she had to pay double because she's a woman.
Yeah, no, I remember that episode.
She had to pay double, but then she was in yoga.
It was when he was... It was when he was still alive, and she saw him at the
Right.
gym
Yeah.
too.
And she couldn't handle herself.
And she couldn't, yeah. But it was presented very, I want to say, apolitically. Like, it's not as if, like, to have be horny for JFK Jr. in the 90s would have connoted any necessary political point of view. He, you know, JFK Jr. was like running that magazine, George, and like all kinds of failed ventures. He pretty much was just handsome and, you know, flying planes badly. I don't know. I don't know why rich people insist on flying their own planes. I don't understand it. But I do think it comes from, it's just like a pop culture mishmash, and everyone who exists in like the political punditry arena is just wrong because they're not letting people be dumb enough to assess.
Okay, but what's the origin story behind it? Isn't it in a Q drop he mentions JFK?
Yeah, it's like in one Q drop, and then it's like not necessarily everybody, but it's definitely a segment of Q people are very committed to this theory, where I think it's the ones who are more partial to the idea that, you know, like this, we are going to reach some like awakening and like transcending of political parties because the evil cabals of blood drinking pedophiles will be exposed, which is a really long, powerful sort of image that I've been reading a book that a woman named Talia Levin wrote about online white supremacists. She's very smart and funny. She kind of infiltrates some online white supremacist circles, but she also interviews a lot of historians about the imagery that the Proud Boys and et cetera are using in their sort of things, which is not a separate entity from Q, but essentially the idea of blood drinking demonic cabals goes back to essentially Rome. Like saying your enemies are essentially consorting with demons and drinking the blood of innocents is the old standard. But I guess it was due for a real resurgence with Q. So that's the like tie that binds the Q, is this like very exciting belief in the international cabal, but there are different octopus legs of it, and one is this JFK Jr. is a secret agent, essentially, who's going to reveal himself to be alive and to have been fighting on the behalf of goodness. And I think it's also this idea that rich people are good.
Yeah. Like the Batman.
Yeah, they've secretly been teaming up to like fight the good fight, and you know it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Like I think there's just people who have a movie TV idea of reality.
Well, I feel like this is very much I don't know, part of the capitalist realism where the only people you see on TV are rich people. So you think. So the binary comes up that there are good rich people and there are bad rich people, and that they're just boring parties. And the idea of vigilantism is really strong within fascist kind of ideology that, you know, for one thing, the state is bad, but billionaires that work with police is a force for good. And that's why I guess they have like the deep state, which is an alternate state, or I don't know, like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on the premise that JFK Jr. is working with Trump's FBI, I guess would be.
None of this is even sufficiently thought out for it to make sense to anybody who's going to try to make it make sense, right?
Okay, so like government is bad.
Big government is bad.
Hillary Clinton, Democrats, the Pope, Jews, all bad. They're all international global elites.
Suspect.
Yeah, global elites that aren't nationalists, I think is the main thing, that they're consorting with international partners to create one global like New World Order, I think is the general
If I'm
of like.
Because recently it's kind of moved beyond even that, where a lot of what would traditionally be, California, like crystal loving new age moms are sort of fitting themselves into it now.
Well, yes, I think we went over that last week.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just trying to, the thing is that they're glomming on to the save the children message.
Yeah.
Is like their wedge issue, that they're now distancing themselves from the more conspiracy theory or partisanship of QAnon and making it their own like spiritual quest.
Mm-hmm.
The awakening kind of has rhetorical use for spiritualist kind of people.
Yeah. Then there's definitely a segment of New Age people who are not connected to Q that talk a great deal about a great awakening, about people waking up, and that is what's going to shift things to the better. So there's a lot of this like semantic crossover where, and I think for some people, I have come across people who basically didn't know what the fuck anything was. Something Q came across their feed and they were like, what the fuck is this? And then they were like, what is anything for a minute? And then they move on from Q and are like, then just like kind of reasonably questioning things and what's happening. So there is like this post Q phenomena of people who are reasonable, who've come across these beliefs and whatever. I think there is a lot of tapping into the anti-vax area with it, which is very, very virulent. Like it's a very strong little subculture, and part of the reason they remain so is because everyone who is, I guess, pro-vaccine or what have you is so smug and dismissive of these people. Mm-hmm. And all you need is one seemingly legitimate story of a quote unquote vaccine injured child to really keep a momentum there. So we talked about this a little bit back in the day, Marianne Williamson. I think she only spoke about like anti-vax people as she was trying to provide a space where they could feel included and would feel safe participating or whatever. Instead, what you get most of the time on the like liberal side of the TV news media is like very harsh, smug, like, you fucking stupid bitch, idiot. Like, which, I mean, it's not like I'm totally disagreeing with that. I just don't think it's a productive way to approach something that we're saying on the quote unquote smart side is a public health issue, and it's really important to get people on board with vaccinating their children and whatever. It's the way to do it is not to be like, you're a fucking idiot. So all of that kind of like, you're a fucking idiot thing that propels a lot of that anti-vax people to sort of dig in their heels, there's a similar energy there with QAnon. So like the way Q is disseminated, it's very culty in that like it encourages you to, if someone is questioning you about these beliefs, it encourages the person to infer you're just not aware, you've been lying, like just cult speak almost with some people where it's like anyone outside the belief system is a heretic. Mm-hmm. And whether they are a naive, innocent heretic or a malicious, nefarious one depends on the mood of the person. But I find it's a similar energy there.
Okay, but then where does RFK Jr. fit into this? Because
RFK or JFK?
JFK.
So JFK Jr. I think is, a lot of the Q people are not particularly old people. You've got your boomers on there, but there's a lot of Gen X and whatnot. So I think JFK Jr. exists in this cultural imagination as
benevolent.
yes, as benevolent and like,
and that's what I was trying to get at before. You have the world of this new world order, these baddies who are these like internationalists, and then you have these nationalists preserving American culture from what? From stealing your children. So JFK Jr. kind of works as this spiritual force of, I don't know. He seems like a vigilante in their universe. He's sent out in secret because he's dead already. Trump, who also is dead, as we've gone over, and he's sent out as this like mercenary to track down the people doing Trump's bidding. Seems to be like, and then.
Yeah, when it's not as if JFK Jr. and Donald Trump were friends ever. This is the funny part. It's not as if like these two rich motherfuckers who would have been, floating around not dissimilar circles. Like if they were, it's not as if they were chummy when we do know JFK Jr. to be alive. So, because, we forget, as the Joy Ann Reeds of the world like to tell us, real rich people don't like Donald Trump, actually.
My sneaking suspicion is that there's already too many conspiracy theories about his father, and they just needed to be creative about it.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, what do you call old Freddie Trump was involved in all kinds of
JFK.
shit. Oh, JFK.
Like, it's just a name associated with conspiracy.
Yeah, but for some reason, JFK Jr. is not like associate. I mean, that's the thing, because nobody's doing logic. Nobody's doing what the logical conclusions would be. So nobody's talking about like, because how QAnon people see things are arguably how Lee Harvey Oswald saw things, and
we're trying to tackle the question of like why JFK or like partisan, nonpartisan proclivities about that. I just feel like for a lot of people, there's this mythical before things were quote unquote political, and it was about.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with partisanship. I think it has to do with. No, I was saying that JFK is associated with conspiracy. It's just a name.
Yeah.
And so JFK Jr. seems to be birthed from those conspiracies.
Yeah, no, my point was it was almost an attempt at transpartisanness. That there's a certain thing that gets lent to it where it's like, oh, this isn't about like Republicans versus Democrats. This is about good American loving people
versus evil.
Basically.
That's what it's about for so many of Q people I've come across, is that like they want more than anything to be involved in a good versus evil situation. So, and often. If you're
I just feel like in a lot of places you get this, and I mean maybe there's something about this, but there's this sort of denial of the category where I used to read a lot of Jack Chick comics. Like I literally read his entire backlog in high school just because I was so fascinated by it. And it was all available online, and it was funny and cool, and the art was great, and he's a hilarious, bigoted man. But yeah. Of Chit Tracks, right?
And
the one thing though that like stands out from this is a stock line in Chick Tracks is, Christianity isn't a religion. It's a relationship with God. And there's always that like Scientologists will talk about like, you can be Catholic and Scientologist because like Scientology isn't a religion. This isn't politics. This isn't, I mean, fucking you get it from Stalinists who will say, oh, Stalinism isn't really an ideology. It's just a belief in what Marx and Lenin said. And there's always this like attempt to lend credence to certain things by denying your belonging to a category. And Q often comes across that way.
Yes, this transcending of the categories, trying to get out of the false dichotomies that we're mired in just by creating another dichotomy where it becomes Q and not Q, because there is this, I think, macro desire to make it good and evil. And that's a lot of people who feel themselves to be apolitical. They just don't do politics. It doesn't interest them.
But they do know that the Democrats are devils and that they are eating babies.
Well, they do know somebody's doing that. Okay. It's not for them to say which political party may be. It could be both, you see. And that's why you have the Christiales who don't want to vote for a politician. Christiale, of course, Veronica's Closet fame.
Yeah.
She's a Scientologist.
It's actually the only thing I know about her.
But yeah, she's voting for Trump again because he's still not a politician. And this belief in, we just need the antithesis of whatever I've identified as the problem, which is politics, becomes a problem. It gets us to Donald Trump. But I don't know. We'll see. We're down to the wire here, I guess. I already voted as discussed.
The second conspiracy theory attached to QAnon also involves a rich dead person, Bin Laden.
Yes. Yeah, Bin Laden's still
Donald
alive.
Trump retweeted a QAnon conspiracy theory. Bin Laden's not killed, and that
he wants to take that W from
Biden. He wants to attach the falsities to Biden.
I'm unaware of this one, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the girl who says she's Bin Laden's daughter.
Is she not?
Niece.
I kind of assumed she was.
No. There's Bin Laden's niece, and then there's the girl who says she's Bin Laden's secret daughter. There's two. There's actually, the Bin Laden's niece is the one who's pro-Trump and went on Tucker Carlson and said, oh, people are more mean to me about being pro-Trump than they are about me being Bin Laden's niece.
Yeah.
But there's also another girl who just says she's Bin Laden's secret love child.
Trump on
Tuesday
retweeted an account linked to QAnon conspiracy theory that promoted the unfounded allegation that Bin Laden is still alive. The account has been suspended the following day, Trump retweeted a video pushing baseless claims about Bin Laden's death. It's just all Bin Laden is still alive, and Obama lied to you this whole time. And think about the time when they just threw him into the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, we should have broadcast it.
We should have broadcast.
It's what it Trump.
Say what you will, but no one thought Louis XVI was still alive.
Or Saddam.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Or Saddam or Gaddafi. I saw all of them die.
With my own eyes. And it couldn't have been a body double.
Anyway, speaking of kings and queens and countries, James Bond, everybody.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Yeah. I just rewatched it today.
Funny.
I did not rewatch it, but I have watched it pretty recently, actually, because GoldenEye's a favorite era. James Bond for me.
I have my whole meta theory that the villains in the first three Pierce Brosnans line up to let's go with Zizek's living in the end times analysis of post-communist, post-USSR as a period of mourning. And he sort of takes through the classic, however many phases of mourning there are, but like relating it to that. And I feel that way about the first three Brosnan Bond movies. And with this first one, it's very echoes of the Soviet Union, very much impregnated to the movie.
Literally the theme of the movie.
Right. Yeah. So, and it's one of the Bond movies that very few Bond movies, but some Bond movies have necessary plot exposition in the cold open. That's more of a thing now under Craig. But this one has plot exposition in the cold open. And then it also, unlike any other movie, I think, other than Die Another Day, it has plot exposition during the title song sequence, and that being a very abstracted performative dance sequence representing the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yes. Only to be rivaled by that weird song and dance Steven Spielberg's wife does in the second Indiana Jones.
I mean, I remember Temple of Doom.
Yeah, there's a cringy dance number like right up top with Kate Capshaw, and it's, I mean, of course, it's weird and orientalist, like the whole movie.
Yeah, Tina Turner.
Yeah, Tina Turner does the song.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else is going on there? The bad girl.
Well, I was gonna link this to. Okay, so here's a dead guy that we all thought was dead being raised.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works.
See, this is, the theme of tonight is the dead guy that we thought was dead but now alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dead.
Also, yeah. Yeah, no, that definitely works. Speaking of which, I always thought the admiral that Onatopp kills in the beginning looked like Paul Giamatti. Especially when Bond opens the closet and his dead corpse falls out of the closet and he has that Paul Giamatti grin on his fucking face.
Yeah, he's got the silliest
grin. He's got the silliest fucking face and it fucking rules.
Like he just had his balls squeezed by a woman. Yeah. A woman's thigh.
Anyway, so yeah.
That's like his character on Billions.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah. That's true.
Billions, the show where everyone's a villain.
A Game of Thrones of our era. I mean, I've never seen the show, but I do know Paul Giamatti likes the BDSM.
Yeah,
in it.
I did. Yeah.
Let's see here. So Bond is getting therapy as ordered by, I guess, MI6. He's driving. Yeah, he's driving
as
an
they would,
1964 Aston Martin DB5,
90s,
which is the same car from Goldfinger, and he's driving that quite dangerously with the company therapist that they sent him because it's like the 90s and everyone's cucked and talking about their feelings and shit. That is a theme that runs through. They make this a thing.
The 90s
of how everyone talks about their feelings right now, and what are we going to do about this James Bond franchise we still have a lot of money involved in, and that is like everything about this movie is a transitory movie. From the cold open starting in the Cold War to then the theme song being a transition and then the movie being post-Cold War, to all the characters discussing how, oh yes, free market in Russia now, to like, yeah, he's dealing with this cucked PC liberal shit while he's driving around his Goldfinger car. And you know what he does? He fucking gives the therapist dick, like James Bond.
Yeah. My favorite early line of talking about his feelings was when Judi Dench.
The Judi Dench.
You're a misogynist dinosaur.
Yeah, no, that was also the thing. It's the first and only time they've recast Well, no, they've recasted M before, but they haven't recasted Bond, M, and Moneypenny at the same time before. So yeah, that's it was very much a new era movie, but still not Daniel Craig. Let's see here. What else?
It's still campy as fuck.
What else did I? Oh, I had a long rant about how fucking stupid of a game Baccarat is. If you don't know this about Baccarat, because it features prominently in this movie, it's in a bunch of Bond movies, and just
it's just one card.
Ian Fleming is just a degenerate gambler. It's okay. Baccarat, on the surface, it's the blackjack rules. Basically, you're trying to get to a certain score with cards. However, within Baccarat, there's a bunch of built-in rules, like you have to take a card if your score is such and such, to the point where it's literally just a dressed-up game of flip a coin. There's no player input in the game. There's zero player input in the game. It is a roulette wheel with less betting options that you do with playing cards, and it takes longer. Like, that's all it is. It's the worst fucking game.
But rich people do it.
Ian Fleming was just a degenerate, drunk fucking gambler, and he played Baccarat a lot because his stupid alky brain couldn't handle making decisions. And from there, it got associated with the highfalutin James Bond lifestyle, much the same way that vodka martinis did. Although I'm not as big an issue with that. However, I will say when he is in the Monte Carlo casino and he meets Onatop again, who he's just stalking apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
This entire time. It is not explained.
He sees her Ferrari and is like, oh, I guess I'm going to go in here.
Yeah, he's in Monaco getting therapy in a DB5. It's not explained if he's there for any mission or other reason. He sees Onatop, stalks her to this casino. And I just have to say, for the record, this is what I would consider one of the quasi-Craig movies, because it's good enough as a movie that it's slightly not shitty enough to be a good Bond movie, but it's still ridiculous, and there's still a reason it's a pre-Craig. But yeah, so he stalks her to this casino. He runs into her at the casino. He gets his shaken not stirred. She orders straight up with a twist, which I just have to go on record and say, if you're an adult and you're ordering a martini, that's a better order than shaken not stirred. If you order shaken not stirred, everyone's going to think you're a dick. But straight up with a twist, I mean, you don't get any olives. I like olives, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's a fine order. It's a real order.
I hate olives. I hate olives so much. No, I am the non-heathen here.
It's a real
Mediterranean trash country.
But
I prefer my stuff to not have any flavor.
Yeah, so anyway. Yeah, that's so that is the casino scene. Plays Baccarat, incredibly stupid game.
She bets $1 million.
Yeah, it's it has
no reason.
High minimum bets for a game that is
she's showing off.
Flip a coin, but dressed up with blackjack. It's like if blackjack was just an automatic game that just played itself, and you happen to be sitting in a seat where you'll win or lose money. Yeah, so then finally he calls up Moneypenny and is like, yeah, can you run the pictures of this woman that I surreptitiously took? And so Moneypenny then is like, oh yeah, she's in the Janus. I'm not calling it Janus. She's in the Janus syndicate.
You better not have sex with her.
Yeah, you're one, don't fuck her, and two, she's in a crime syndicate. And at that point, we the audience are
she's
left
also
thinking,
a sadistic.
Oh, was this the point? Is this why he's in Monaco, to follow this woman? Because I don't know why he was following this woman up to now. Was the therapist somehow a cover? The British government was like, hey, we're sending you on a Monaco therapy trip? as a cover for him to investigate Onatop? We have no idea.
I always took it that he was there for therapy and to get away, and then
fell into his lap.
This sadistic.
She didn't fall into his lap. She was falling, and he kept moving his lap underneath of where she was falling. Like, there's no explanation.
So she murders the guy on the yacht.
Yeah, and he makes a Paul Giamatti grin. Yeah, steals the ID. Okay, so then this is the other part of the movie. Well, of the beginning of the movie. Okay, so the two pilots are walking to the helicopter. There's a demonstration on the deck of this ship. The French guy's saying, "Oh, we're proud to introduce this new helicopter. Pilots are coming to demonstrate it." Pilots are on their way to the helicopter to fly it. Onatop shows up dressed like a lady from a 1920s illustration in the New Yorker and is going, "Hey, boys, the guys at the barracks sent me here." And they stop to approach her as if like, yeah, we got to be at the plane in like 2 minutes, but let's have sex with her now.
I mean, that is the only thing men have with women.
Like, they're literally on their way to fly a helicopter, and it seems to be timed out to a man making an announcement. And they're walking.
But then they're like,
yeah.
Did?
And she killed both of them. And then gets changed from her like 1920s. I forget the name of that was a Gibson Girl, was it? Okay,
no, Gibson Girl.
You know what? I'm going to go with Gibson Girl. I like that.
Flapper dress?
Yeah, I'm going to say she was more Gibson Girl. I'm going with that. I like that. But yeah, so she gets changed into a flight uniform really fast and steals the helicopter as James Bond.
With the general.
Yeah, and James Bond does his signature thing, which is like, I'm going to run directly into security guards who don't know what's going on without saying a single word about it. And then these security guards are going to naturally stop me from doing the thing I need. And so they get away with the helicopter.
Mind you, I still feel like this is all in his stalking mode.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as he calls Moneypenny, you get the feeling that, like, oh, we're actually doing government shit now. Like,
he can't turn it off.
And so they just steal the helicopters, which I never understood. Why would they just...
Because the helicopter is shielded against EMP weaponry, which is what the Goldeneye was. And they needed an escape vehicle to get away from the...
It was the AMP. But, like, wouldn't the Swiss government just, like, figure it out?
But, no. They have the helicopter. They are stealing the Goldeneye. They are then deploying the Goldeneye in order to erase the evidence that they stole the Goldeneye, because that gives them a second Goldeneye. So they're netting themselves one Goldeneye, and like any good heist, you need a getaway vehicle. Goldeneye is an EMP weapon, and this helicopter is magically shielded against EMPs because that's what the fucking announcers say. So that's their getaway vehicle. It's the only helicopter like that, so that's where they're getting it from. Yeah, no, that's all worked out. It's a solid, tight premise. I mean, other than like all the shit wrong with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I mean,
the dancer doesn't the dancer destroy the hammer and sickle? Like, isn't it
the
a dancer?
Like smashing. Also fun fact, I just learned this. Dimitrov, or whatever the fuck his name is, the
best character.
Yeah. Fucking
Boris.
One of
Invincible.
No, not Boris. No, the fat fuck. Valentine. Yeah, that's it. He's one of the best characters from Brosnan Bond, but his mistress, who was singing poorly, was Minnie Driver. I never realized that. But so this is like the second movie with Minnie Driver I've watched, and of the last two movies I've watched.
strangling the cat.
Yeah, no.
There you
Well,
go.
you know how like Minnie Driver had that weird laugh from Good Will Hunting. Well, in this one, she's a bad singer.
I love Valentine. Ends up dying in his own caviar.
Well, he does when he gets out.
Yeah, that's right. He's drowning in his own caviar.
Yeah. Well, that's also one of my favorite other Bond tropes was James Bond is the only human being on Earth to use a Walther PPK. And they mention that all the time.
And when he draws it on Valentine,
Well,
he's like, no, I only know 3 people, 2 of which I killed.
Yeah, no. And Valentine can recognize the click in a Walther PPK as being a Walther PPK click.
You gave me this limp.
Yeah.
It's every day when I wake up in this cold, godforsaken capitalist country.
Yeah.
It is the first appearance of Pierce Brosnan as Bond. So, which I don't think who is James Bond before
Timothy
him?
Dalton, probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, honestly, I've never seen a single fucking Dalton.
They're so awesome.
Yeah, I need to because it's like super 80s like drug cop.
Bond goes from like in the 70s being a Cold War, like, you know, saving the world to like Dalton era, which is just helping like the CIA do coups in South America and just trafficking drugs to America. Like, and then once you get to Brosnan, then like by the 3rd movie, he's just a mercenary for global capital.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree that. I mean, I don't think that was a huge change or anything.
Yeah, he was always a mercenary for global capital, but like
there were movies previous. I mean, fuck, Diamonds Are Forever. He was literally doing a job for South African diamond miners. Like, yeah, oh yeah, like Diamonds Are Forever.
James Bond is bad.
Plot exposition.
Wait, I thought we were on the same page.
Movie
with
involved literal. Well, I mean, stage, not like documentary, but like shots that were meant to depict South African diamond mines with the like mine owners as the people hiring James Bond.
Well, in The World Is Not Enough, he was just like saving an oil pipeline.
Yeah. It was an important oil pipeline.
He's never been good.
Left his territory trying to bomb it. Yeah, I mean,
at least
it's.
And I'm not even talking about how he is with the ladies, if you know what I mean. Coercive.
I prefer the first scene out of Goldfinger when he uses a woman as a shield.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But that I feel like that was a trope. I recently rewatched Total Recall. And there is a part where people are just like, he just uses someone as a human shield.
Yeah,
like, and it's never spoken of.
Well, yeah, I mean, they parodied that in Archer. But there's like literally a line from Goldfinger that is, "Go away now, men are talking." That's like an actual spoken line in that fucking movie. Yeah, no, I mean, Brosnan, or it's not Brosnan, Connery Bond was ridiculous. My favorite movie is far and away For Your Eyes Only, which is Roger Moore. And
Roger Moore is my hands-down favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I hate a lot of his movies, but...
No, I like him as Bond.
Yeah.
It's just the 70s aesthetic. They make him do everything you can. He's like in circuses. He's on the moon.
Octopussy is a great movie. Oh, that has backgammon in it. Yeah, Octopussy is the greatest movie of all time. Only backgammon film I've ever seen.
He's in psychedelic.
Yeah, he's doing black.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Roger Moore.
Okay, back to the Pierce Brosnan though. My favorite scene in the whole movie, and probably the best scene, was the return of 006 and what's his name? Ned Stark.
Yeah, in the literal graveyard of Soviet monuments. Yeah, no, that shit.
It brought tears to my eyes. He's a Cossack. Anybody want to describe why it's significant that he's a Cossack?
Okay, I've been trying to figure out what the deal with Cossacks is as a well, I guess I'm like Russian Jewish, and like I'm pretty sure I've had relatives murdered by Cossacks. And the closest I can get is it's as if Native Americans survived in larger numbers and the US government was like, hey, we'll just give you your own state, but you need to like be a special forces unit for the government that murders people who we tell you to. And that's like kind of what Cossacks are. They're like these weird indigenous tribes in Russia that under the Tsar, like, were basically able to control their own pieces of territory within Russia, but they just murdered people for the Tsar. But yeah, very strange phenomenon.
And 006, Ned Stark is
Alien Cossack, who
revealed to be a Cossack.
Yeah, and that was like this whole culturally significant thing that everyone, both the like British government that decided to hide this information from, and then like Bond tried to use Oromov's presumed racism against Ned Stark at another point. And it's like, I don't know. Do you really give a shit? Do you like...
Well, it seems to...
It's the 90s,
It seems to
everyone's
me
more
that
sensitive.
it gave them precedent for him being a long-term sleeper aide. Like, they trained him...
Literally, in 1945... Ned Stark, who was not born in 1945, has this lifelong grudge against the British government.
Which was what? Like the British murdered all the Cossacks?
The British turned the Cossacks over to the Soviet Union. The Cossacks fought for the Nazis because they were super right-wing conservatives who used to be basically attack dogs for the Tsar. So they fought for the Nazis. The British captured a bunch of them, and they were like, hey, don't turn us back to the Soviet Union. We'll help fight the Soviet Union with you guys. And the British are like, the Soviet Union's still kind of our allies, and you're prisoners of war who fought for the Nazis against us, and we're going to send you back to the Soviet Union because that's where you're from. And
okay, this makes the movie make so much more sense, because the whole time it gives the appearance that like Cossacks are on the side of the Soviets.
No, they were
They're
never. I mean, if you read 10 Days That Shook the World, Cossacks come up a bunch. Like, they were one of the most like hardened, well-armed military reactionary forces during the Russian Revolution. And yeah, it was just like, yeah, the Tsars, like, they were these kind of nomadic, hyper-militarist tribes that lived in Russia. And rather than completely conquer them, the Tsars are just like, all right, you're in Russia, but like, I don't know, just serve in our military and we'll make special Cossack units for you guys where you can listen to your traditional hierarchical commanders. And we'll let you basically run your own areas, is what they were.
And so Ned Stark is a Cossack.
Yeah.
But the general is just an old Soviet general who also does...
The British government kept from him that he was a Cossack, and they thought if he learned that, naturally he would fulfill this lifelong vendetta against them. Like, it's just so fucking bizarre to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, this is partially like I'm white and I don't care that much about my ethnicity. But I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, you really fucked over my parents. I'm going to form an international criminal syndicate and post. It was like the other thing in that graveyard scene. He goes to Bond. I was almost thinking about letting you in on this little scheme of mine. And it's like, what fucking scheme, dude? The last time you saw James Bond was 9 years ago. Was that part of the scheme? Like you,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like.
Also, I'd argue that the Cossacks, God damn it, they were kind of like the ice of the Russian Empire, right? Because they were like at the borders, supposedly. That was like a lot of where they
they would also like pogrom out some Jewish settlements and shit like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm just like trying to. Did he know about the Goldeneye during level 1 dam of Goldeneye? Did he like know about it then? And like his idea was like, I'm gonna fake my death because Ourumov is in on this. Ourumov, in the meantime, is gonna become a general.
Or stay a general? Isn't he always a general?
No, he was. No, they mentioned that very specifically. He was. Yeah, no, he wasn't a general. I forget what his rank was in the cold open, but they do mention his rank, and it's not general. And then when they bring up Ourumov at the briefing after the like Severnaya incident, James Bond says, "Oh, Ourumov, they made him a general now." So yeah, no, he wasn't a general in the cold open. Yeah, like so Ourumov's gonna become a general. I'm gonna start.
And he kills the defense minister of Russia.
Okay, Ourumov's gonna become a general. The Soviet Union's gonna collapse. That's part of my plan. I'm going to form a post-Soviet crime syndicate in the like Yeltsin kleptocracy called Janus. I'm gonna get Ourumov in on it. Like this was like his scheme he was developing during level 1 dam. Like I just it's not clear because he says like, oh, he wrote the line down. Yeah, no, he was like, I was going to let you in on my little scheme. I just don't know what was he going to tell him before the dam? Like, oh, by the way, I'm going to fake my death. The Soviet Union's going to fall, and 9 years later, I'm going to do this thing with like an EMP satellite to steal like a bunch of money from the British bank and also like hurt the British government because they fucked over my parents.
Is it that it goes underground?
Yes.
Like, is that the plan and he just improvises the rest?
I mean,
he goes underground, much like Bin Laden, Osama Bin Laden.
Yeah, so in the cold opening, clearly he's planning to fake his own death. He's clearly probably already in with Ourumov. I don't know anything else. I don't know to what
Okay, are you saying it's not possible that Osama Bin Laden faked his own death knowing that Donald Trump would come president so that the two of them could fight the pedophile ring?
Yeah.
Following the ascendance of Donald Trump to the president. Are you saying that's not possible?
I mean, maybe, but...
And that JFK Jr. is the general Ourumov.
Yeah, in 100 years when they make James Bond style movies about Trump, will that be the plot? I think so. I do want to mention that Onatop on the Wikipedia page is described as a sadistic lust murderer.
Yeah, no, they definitely did the classic like Batman villain thing that James Bond used to do back in the glory days of like, oh, he has this weird pseudo-Freudian complex and that defines his character and his special powers as a bad guy. They did that with, I don't know. They used to do that with Bond villains. Did it with Onatop. Guess they did it with the, they did it with everyone in World Is Not Enough.
Onatop's death scene has always been scarred into my brain.
Yeah. How'd you know the helicopter was going to away, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense as a like kill method, but like I always did appreciate it.
Well, also her scene in the spa.
Yeah, that one's
down and tries to squeeze
Right, because he gets an orgasm.
James
Killing
gets,
people out.
yeah,
Could've
and then James gets.
Mhm.
He's a
She's the
lust
perfect
murderer.
Pinko Commie slut. She should be our new cover. She's perfect.
Yeah, just put in a bunch of like
Mascot.
uncomfortable
Or mascot.
on a top orgasm sounds here. Yeah, no, it's that's the thing that makes that a Bond movie is like just the silly bullshit like that. That shit rules. Like that.
I mean, naming her on a top is one of
No,
the.
I know. It was
a
like
lot of
continuing
vaginas,
the
pussy
tradition
galore.
beautifully.
Yeah.
A lot of vagina,
Wait.
isn't it?
Austin Powers, yes, I know.
What is
Yeah,
her
Xenia.
first name? Xenia on a top.
Yeah.
Xenia.
Well, there's
Then on a top.
who the what the fuck is that one chick's name? Like I think her name was like literally like Lucy Goodtimes or some shit. God damn that fucking franchise.
Yeah, she's. What was the one-liner when James sets her down on like the coals or the heating coals, and he. I don't know, but he had another good one when she died, and he's like, "I heard she likes a good squeeze."
Yeah, that was definitely the one.
The Cuban scene was so fucking. I mean,
The what?
The Cuban, like the satellite that comes out of the ground.
Rules. That shit rule. No, that when it gets very archery because like you can just see as soon as that comes out, you're like, oh boy, we're gonna slide down this at some point, aren't we? Just like everyone just gets so excited because we're gonna slide down this at some point, and it's gonna be so much fun. I mean, look at it. Oh god, that looks so much fun. I love that thing. That's the coolest thing ever. I want to slide down that at some point. That's a bucket list. I will learn how to skateboard that shit. Oh yeah, no, the giant fucking satellite that like comes out of the water. I mean that also. I mean that's very. You only live twice. The volcano base that I almost called a vagina base for some reason.
Isn't there an underwater sea base too?
There's Spy
be called a
Love
vagina
Me
base.
has a sea base.
Comes out of the sea.
Yeah, it comes out of the sea.
Shark.
Yeah, no, the dude's like obsessed with the ocean. I forget what his deal was. I mean, I know he was like stealing nuclear submarines from both Britain and the Soviet Union, or possibly America and the Soviet Union, to then fire them at each other to make them go to war. I forget why he was doing that. Like, I know he
wants to watch the world
lives
burn,
permanently in his ocean lair and likes ocean shit. Spy Love Me was a solid one. That was Roger Moore.
Again, the best.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty.
The Man with the Golden Eye.
Golden
My
Gun.
favorite. Golden Gun. Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, that one.
Christopher Lee
Yeah, no, that one's like
as the man with three nipples who just
that
expect
was
him.
like one of the gas movies of.
It was so good. It had the fun house.
Yeah,
like
yeah. It had the fun house. It had the fucking midget. It had the Golden Gun. Yeah, no, that had a bunch of fun stuff. I mean, yeah. Well, View to a Kill, which is often named as one of the worst Bond movies. I love it.
It has Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it has Christopher Walken, and if you go through the movie, it's a goddamn clusterfuck. But like a lot of people just are like, I mean, it's on like podcasts as like, can you believe they made this movie? And it's like, it's a fun fucking Bond movie.
Okay, but Moonraker.
Yeah, Moonraker, that's where
WTF.
too far.
Well, wasn't it just Star Wars happened and they were like, let's cash in on space shit?
Yeah.
79.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap up Goldeneye. What does that say about post-war
Oh, okay. So
hauntology, I guess?
I mean, they kind of...
I found it very hauntological, just the echoes of...
Yeah, I mean, they were essentially fighting against the ghosts of the Soviet Union, with 006 kind of representing this. I mean, his entire project was absurdly... the motivations were just kind of absurd in how married to the past they were. Ourumov, I mean, he's always the thing I remember more from the movie. And yeah, he viewed himself as a resurgent, going to make Russia like Stalin again, kind of guy. I don't know exactly how this whole thing would help him do that, but you know, he was going to. And I mean, your set pieces are all, I mean, the entire Russian section was all just red square Kremlin shots like it was an old Bond movie. And you had to have that speech with M basically. I mean, the first part of the movie was basically a lot of transitions. It was theme song that was a transition, the cold open being Cold War, and the main movie being post-Cold War. And then M makes a speech. M, who is now a woman, makes a speech about how, yeah, she calls him a literal relic of the Cold War, and we don't need you anymore, is basically what she's telling him. And so, yeah, it's a movie very conscious about finding its footing when it spent the last 40 years being a thing that's no longer a thing. So that would be kind of my read on the hauntology. And it was also, I mean, after Brosnan, they had to reboot the series. They couldn't keep doing it.
Right. Well, like, that's, I guess, where I'm going to say it is the hauntological until it just goes into full nostalgia. Like, they couldn't keep it in the time period that it is. They had to set it in the past, or at the very least make it so that the world of Bond matched the world of Pat, right? To kind of like give him an enemy that was substantial instead of just kind of ghost.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to get it right now, but I do have my whole idea about the first three Brosnan movies kind of being this progression of getting more and more tenuous in its or how it's dealing with the post-Cold War. So the first one is Soviet irredentism. The second one being Tomorrow Never Dies. Is the runaway capitalism. And finally, World Is Not Enough is this sort of no longer Soviet irredentism, but like almost this nostalgic callback left trying to deal in this post-communist society, where you have, he's not a communist, he's an anarchist. He literally, as his main character feature, cannot feel anything, and he's just increasingly alienated from the world.
And he's got like a super death drop.
Right. And then he's
got a bullet.
Combined with the, quote unquote Stockholm syndrome, but really rich girl who's an heiress who has everything except meaning. And so to make meaning, she like boredly role plays in this sort of lefty, directionless anarchism, quote unquote, idea. And those are your bad guys in that last movie, where it's like the very notion of the Soviet Union is now dead. We don't have that. And so our enemies are just sort of making it up to feel something. Well,
I also thought that the Azerbaijani Armenian conflict.
Oh yeah, that's very topical.
It's very topical in that movie, and it's constantly being referenced and played upon. They actually go to Azerbaijan.
Well, I mean, there was a war there.
Harris,
right?
Yeah, I think so. And the rich Harris meets with like a cleric and does an alliance that allows it so that they could build the pipeline on their land. Which
Yeah,
also,
Caucasus Muslims are very famously hyper religious and will do whatever their clerics tell them. That's the thing about the ex.
So if you want to film a movie there,
absolutely.
you gotta get in good with them clerics.
Of all the shit, I went to law school with a fucking Kosovo Muslim, and it's like, yeah, no, it's oh shit, you're Muslim. I didn't realize at all based on anything you've ever said or did. They're the best Muslims because they really do not give a fuck. Anyway,
that's our review of Goldeneye.
Yeah.
We could probably do a longer one, but
yeah, we can do kind of a body thing because there's a lot to say about the series and some I'm got with.
Yeah, and I love this movie in particular because it's end of history.
Oh, we could do. I mean, we could do it for your eyes only because it has the whole Greek shit. It has so much Greek shit.
Yeah, that's true. Except the Greek woman is played by French.
She's played.
It's basically the entire
and that's
played by Gal
Greek uncles fighting with each other.
Played by Gal Gadot.
There is in one of the Daniel Craigs, though, there is a Bond girl who is a real Greek. So, you know.
I like doing Bond films because they are the lens by which a lot of people are introduced to communism in America. And it's always the enemy, and it's always comes with so many, so much wrapped into it, so much capitalist propaganda wrapped. That's fun. I love it. You know, can't get enough capitalist propaganda. But you know, by defining communism through it, it shapes the way, you know, other than but it's the way we think about communism.
Well, the other thing I like about For Your Eyes Only is, it's, what the fuck is that guy's name? The KGB head, Golgov or Gulgu, or started with a J. But yeah, any of the Roger Moore era movies with that character in it were always good. Yeah, because you also had Spy Who Loved Me. Yeah, definitely my favorite.
I love Roger Moore. Anyways, that's one.
You should end it on da-da.
Yeah.
Da-da.
You should end it on Chris Cornell's Bond song.
Should end it on
or Tina Turner's
Secret Agent Man.
Yes, Secret Agent Man. I like it.
So, yeah.
My name is Bond, James Bond. James Bond.
By the way, we haven't been properly introduced to me. My name is Bond. James Bond.